This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
All righty, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. Today is Saturday, April the 12th, 2025. And let's make today a great day. How do you make your day great? It's simple. It really is. Look around you. Find the things that are good. Notice them and appreciate them. When we live a life filled with appreciation, it's very difficult to not have a good day or a great day. It's when we live a life of unappreciation, when nothing is good enough, that we're miserable. Find the good, appreciate the good, and then spread goodness, spread kindness, spread understanding. When we give love, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. The show, as with all our shows, is brought to you by Artemisia Publishing. You can find their fine selection of books at apbooks.net. Artemisia has published a number of my wonderful books, From Compton to the Bronx, the least among them, Scattering the Ashes, and 365.2. They will also be publishing my next great Yankees book, which will come out next February. All right, so I'm recording this on Friday night. The Yankees are playing the Giants. It's the top of the fifth, and there are no outs. The Giants have 2 runners on, and they already lead 5-1. It was a disaster, my dear friends, from the start. I'll give you a quick rundown, and then we'll get into some bigger picture things. But here's how the game began. Top of the first, Yastrzemski doubled. Adames walked. Lee, 3-run home run. The Yankees were already down 3-0. Ramos walked. Wade doubled. Ramos scored. Flores struck out. Bailey flied out. Fitzgerald singled, bringing Wade to third. They took out Marcus Stroman. He only made it 2/3 of an inning, and he had already by then given up 5 runs. When Ramos scored, Chapman also scored. So that's how they got the 5 runs. 2/3 of an inning, 5 runs. Now, this is a guy, when spring training began and he first arrived, at that moment, it seemed like the Yankees would have 5 quality starting pitchers. Unfortunately, Luis Gil got hurt. Unfortunately, Clark Schmidt got hurt. Unfortunately, Garrett Cole got hurt. And the Yankees were then scrambling for a starting pitcher. But even before all of that truly came to fruition, Marcus Stroman came into spring training and said, I am not a relief pitcher. I am not a relief pitcher. I am a starting pitcher. And you had to ask, well, if you're going to be a starting pitcher, are you better than Carlos Rodon? No. Are you better than Clark Schmidt? No. Are you better than Garrett Cole? No. Are you better than Max Fried? No. And are you better than Luis Gil? No. So, Mr. Stroman, with all due respect, how are you a starting pitcher? But the Yankees, maybe they wanted to make peace. Maybe they wanted to be kind. Maybe they watch this show and say, give kindness, give love, and it comes back to you in greater amounts than you ever gave. I mean, It's a possibility, if nothing else. Once the spring training games began, which pitcher started the very first game? The guy who seems to be one of the least team-oriented players, the very same Marcus Stroman. Comes to camp, doesn't say, I'll do whatever it takes to win. If you want me pitching out of the bullpen, I'll do that. If you want me starting, I'll do that. If the best chance for the Yankees to win has me playing second base or left field or whatever, I'll do it. That's what we want to hear out of our baseball players. I mean, that's what we want to hear out of the people we employ. That's what we want to hear out of our colleagues. Oh, yeah, I'll help. Whatever it takes, I will do it. But Stroman didn't bring that attitude. He said, no, I am not a relief pitcher. No, 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 I won't do it. And instead of the manager sitting down and saying, listen, buddy, you might be in the bullpen. You never know. Stay sharp. We may need you as a starter. You never know what could happen. They made him a starter right from the beginning. First spring training game. Hey, Marcus, I know you came with a bad attitude and you're unwilling to do whatever the team needs you to do, and you're demanding that you're only a starting pitcher. We'll make you a starting pitcher. You can go the first game. That's how we're going to reward your behavior and your attitude. From the start, my dear friends, it was readily apparent that Marcus Stroman is not good. Let's play a game. Really simple game. We're going to take this game back to the year 2021. Wow, I mean, we could go before COVID, but let's not even go there. Since COVID, Marcus Stroman's ERA in 2021 was 3.02. He had a 158 ERA plus. He was a very good pitcher. Now, he only went 10-13 because, for whatever reason, even when he's pitching well, probably because he doesn't pitch deep into games, but he's about a roughly 500 pitcher for his whole career. Right now, he has 87 wins and 85 losses. I suspect after the Yankees lose tonight, the score right now is still 5-1, top of the fifth, 2 runners on, 1 out. I assume after tonight, his lifetime career record will be 87 and 86. And his record on the 2025 year will be 0-1. But anyway, the next year he went 6-7. The ERA went up a tick to 3.50. The ERA plus went down a bit to 119, right? 119. The next year, still pitching for Chicago, his ERA goes up a little more, 3.95. His ERA plus stays the same. The next year, pitching for the Yankees, he has a 4.31 ERA. His ERA plus goes down to 113. What do you notice here? What trend do you notice? His ERA is going up. His ERA plus is going down. Now, again, his record stays right around 500, 10-13, 6-7, 10-9, 10-9. He always seems to stay around 500, but his performance is getting worse. How about his whip? That's when you add up the walks and hits per inning pitched. The lower your whip, the better. Going back to that 2021 season, his whip was 1.145. The next year, it went up just a tick to 1.147. The next year, it went up a bit more to 1.259. The next year, last year, it went up to 1.468. So his ERA is going up. His ERA plus is going down, both in the wrong direction, and his whip, the amount of base runners on per inning, is going up every year. Now, if you're a team and you noticed those statistics, would that be encouraging? If that player came to camp and said, I demand to be a starting pitcher. Now, again, he didn't quite say that, but he said, I'm not going to pitch out of the bullpen, which in effect is the same thing. Would you reward that behavior and say, you know what, buddy? Yeah, we're going to start you in the first spring training game and get you ready to be a starter. He came into the game today before the disaster with an ERA of 7.27. In 2 starts, he pitched a grand total of 8.2 innings, which comes out to 4.1 innings per start, which is highly unacceptable. His innings now, 3 starts, will be 9.1 innings since he got 2 outs today. 9.1 innings over 3 starts. He's averaging 3 innings a start now. And that 7.27 ERA is going to go up. But it was readily apparent. All you had to do, this is what baffles my mind. Fans watch spring training and they say, oh, this guy looks good. He's going to have a good year. I can feel it. I can see it. Look at how great he's doing. And look at his spring training numbers. And they don't take one moment to think about how those numbers are accumulated. When you play in spring training, are you playing against 9 big league players? You're not. You're playing against a couple of big league players for the first couple innings, and then you're playing against minor leaguers. Are you playing against players giving their all? No. You're playing against players who are going through the motions to get ready for the games that do count. When you hear any talk from major leaguers about spring training, they say, yeah, we're working on things, but the games don't matter. And when the games don't matter, are they giving their best? Logically, they're not. And so if you accumulate good spring training numbers as a pitcher, how many of those outs that you recorded came against quality major league hitters giving their very best? And how many of those outs that you recorded came against guys who weren't ever going to even see the major leagues, not just this year, but in their whole career? And the same goes through for batters. If I had a little blooper over short and Anthony Volpe's at shortstop, he's catching it. If the shortstop is Joe Scrub from Double-A ball, getting some reps because I had to bring a shortstop to the game so he can play, and he can't get to the ball, it looks like I just had a base hit. But that base hit's not transferable to the major leagues in a real game, because that guy at shortstop, who's never going to play shortstop in the major leagues, isn't going to be there in the regular season. And so when I hit the little blooper, Anthony Volpe's going to catch it, or whoever the shortstop on the other team is. But the other part is, even if you want to believe the statistics, how many innings, how many at-bats do they get? Not a whole lot. A pitcher usually gets about 15, 16, 17 innings of work. How does 17 innings of work counter affect all of those numbers that I told you? Because Marcus Stroman threw 179 in that innings in that good year, 138.2, 136.2, and 154.2. You know, what's that? 200, 400, 500, 580 innings, roughly. 580 innings of a pitcher who's getting worse year after year. We saw it with our own eyes last year. And then people convincing themselves that 16 innings of baseball that's not even played for real. They're scrimmage games. That's all they are. They're practice. Most people have played on teams, whether it be little league or high school ball or college ball or whatever. And they know that when you're scrimmaging, it's just a scrimmage. 99.9% of the time, nobody cares. And 99.9% of the time, the statistics in spring training don't matter. Now, I understand the Yankees are up against a rock and a hard place. Clark Schmidt is hurt. Luis Gil is hurt. Garrett Cole's out for the year. They had to do something. So they're going to Marcus Stroman. He's given them 3 bad starts in a row now. But no one, this is the point, should be surprised. The Yankees also have Carlos Carrasco in the starting rotation. He was another one who we kept hearing. He earned a spot on the team. He's going to be fine because he pitched well in spring training. Those 16 innings mattered. In 2021, Carlos Carrasco went 1-5 with an ERA of 6.04 and ERA plus of 50. In 2022, he had a resurgence. It was a blip. It was his 35 age season. He was 15-7. He had a 3.97 ERA. His ERA plus was 152. And you say, all right. But we've seen this a lot. Like a fading veteran is able to put it together for a year. That was 2022. Go to 2023. Carlos Carrasco, 3-8, 6.80 ERA, an ERA plus of 66. 2024, 3-10, 5.64 ERA, an ERA plus of 89. So if we go back to 2019, year after year, here are Carlos Carrasco's ERA pluses. 96, 100, of course, is an average pitcher. If you are less than 100, you're a below average major league pitcher. So 2019, 96, he's a below average pitcher. That's 1 year below. 2020, 82, that's 2 years below. 2021, 50, that's 3 years below. Then we had that resurgence year in 2022, 152, that's 1 good year. 2023, 66, 2024, 89. Oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 of the last 6 years, he was a below average pitcher, and it wasn't even close. Maybe you say 94, 95, 96, he's almost league average. 89 isn't. 66 isn't. 50 isn't. 82 isn't. You have to go back to 2019 to see the 96. This isn't just a guy who's maybe kind of close to league average. This is a guy who's miles away from league average. And yet the Yankees saying, well, he had those 16 good innings. Those were big 16 innings in spring training. Those are great. We want to give this guy a chance to be a starting pitcher on the team. Now, a year ago, a guy like Corbin Burnes was supposedly available, and the Yankees said, well, we're not going to be in that game, or they couldn't come up with a package well enough to get him. Imagine if the Yankees had Corbin Burnes, and then they went out and they signed Max Fried, and they had a number of really good pitchers and some real depth. maybe they wouldn't be in a situation like this. Now, maybe they would have traded for Corbin Burns and he would have left and he got a big free agent contract and all that. I get it. But so often the Yankees seem to, as we've talked about, go just far enough. Hey, we've got 5 good pitchers. Then we have Stroman and then we have Carrasco. If we go to them, we're doomed. But we have 5 good pitchers. And as long as they're healthy, we're going to be fine. And that is what the truth was. They had 5 good pitchers. And 3 of them went down because they didn't build a deep rotation. And then you're up against a rock and a hard place, and you're starting guys like Carlos Carrasco and Marcus Stroman and Will Warren, who we didn't talk about, who hasn't necessarily been good, but here's the difference. Will Warren's a kid. He might have a future. Marcus Stroman does not have a future. Carlos Carrasco does not have a future. If DJ LeMahieu comes back and the Yankees play him, that's foolish. He had a past. He does not have a future. Oswald Cabrera might have a future. But you got to play the kid who might have the future. You don't play the guy who has no current. He has no now. Stroman, Carrasco, LeMahieu. They have no now. They're not good. So you don't play them at the expense of young kids. So, yeah, Will Warren hasn't been great so far, but you know what? He's a kid. I'm okay with giving him a bunch of games to try to figure it out. I'm okay giving a young kid a chance to be a starter, maybe for a whole season, maybe for half a season. Let's see what he's got. But to keep going to tired old veteran players who don't have it anymore, this has been one of the Yankee models for so long. And need I remind everybody, they haven't won a World Series since 2009. Been a long time. And then the time they won the World Series before that, that was 2000. This has been a long, long, long period where the Yankees are not winning World Series. And maybe we look at the things that are constant. The GM. Maybe he's doing something wrong. I've said for a long time, Brian Cashman was a great general manager. I don't know if he's a great general manager anymore. It sure doesn't seem it. If the job of the general manager is to win World Series, to build teams that can win World Series, well, it hasn't been working. Hasn't been working for the majority of the last 26 seasons or 25 seasons. You have one World Series victory in 25 years. That's not a good rate. And maybe it's a good rate if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, who don't even come close ever. You say, we win one World Series every quarter century. That's pretty good. Well, the 4 by the end of the century, once every 25 years, is better than they've been doing for a long time. But when you're the New York Yankees and your team has a valuation of $8-point-something billion, by far billions more than the runner-up, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you can't find a way to use that absolute advantage in money to win a few World Series in a quarter of a century, it's just not, you're doing something wrong. And for a fan like me, who's never played Major League Baseball, never played minor league baseball, never played college baseball, though I still play. As you know, I'm pitching in an over 35 league. We were rained out last week, and it looks like we'll be rained out tomorrow. So that's a real bummer. Then the week after is Easter, a wonderful holiday. So we obviously don't play on Easter, and even if we did, I wouldn't play. I'm going to celebrate Easter, go to church and do all the Easter things. I'll go to 2 church services on Easter. I'll go to the sunrise service, and I'll go to the regular service where I'll help out in church and read scripture. So we might not have opening day until April 27th, which is almost a month late, 3 weeks late. But for a guy like me who's never played Major League Baseball, never worked with Major League Baseball, to be able to do something like go on Baseball Reference, I'm not even talking about exotic stats and crazy websites and graphs and StatCast and Fangraphs and Baseball America and whatever. I'm talking about like the online baseball encyclopedia, and look at a player. I mean, I'm not opening up a book, but in essence, opening up a book and saying, he hasn't been good really since 2019, except for one blip. Or his numbers have gotten worse every single year for the last number of years. If I'm building my team with those guys as my number one backups, am I building a good team? Or am I putting my team in big danger, should there be an injury or two, of having to pitch pitchers who aren't any good anymore? How the Yankees can't see that. How they can't say, we have to spend more money this year because the way we planned didn't work. We can't possibly go to those guys. They're no good. We already know they're going to be no good. But I don't need all these fancy statistics to prove that. I don't need all these charts. I don't need all these analytic people. I don't need all these computer programs. I don't need flow charts. I don't need Excel charts. I don't need spray charts. I don't need spin rates. I don't need radar gun ratings or readings. I just look at the Baseball Encyclopedia online, Baseball Reference, and it says, quite obviously, these players aren't any good anymore. And that's when you say we got to get more players. As the general manager and the owner, you say, all right, our plan isn't working. And it was apparent that those guys were the fallback position from the start of spring training. So this isn't a surprise. And yet here we are. And as for Luis Gil getting injured, we were talking about that last year. His innings went from 10 to 500 million. That's a recipe for a guy who's going to get hurt. We said it about Clark Schmidt the year before that. He went from very few innings to 5 gazillion innings. And then the next year he was hurt. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. If I can figure this stuff out, how come the Yankees can't? They have all the resources. They have all sorts of other data that should be showing the same thing. And if it's not, that other data is terrible. You're relying on data that just doesn't make any sense. And I have to say this again. I think Carlos Carrasco seems like a nice guy. Marcus Stroman, didn't like his attitude when he came in, but he might be the nicest guy ever. DJ LeMahieu might be a super nice guy. I might like to hang out with any of these people, watch a ball game, drink some soda, eat some hot dogs or whatever. We can have a good time. But as baseball players in 2025, you just don't want to build a team around them. But the Yankees did, or they might be if they bring back LeMahieu. Frustrating. Yankees score as we go off the air, 8-1 San Francisco. It's not working, my friends. It's not working. Have a great week. Find the good, spread good cheer. It's only baseball. We can get frustrated, but it's only baseball. Have fun, enjoy, Have yourselves a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Thank you for watching.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for